Dave, is Tool, Fear Inoculum, their first album in 13 years. Are they a work of art?
There's something, all right.
Yeah, it's so Tool is I think unlike any other artist we've really covered here on Nostalgia Pod because they're probably considered metal. Prog-Metal, I think, would be the more precise definition of them.
Correct.
And they're going on their third decade of being a band. You know, they really rose to prominence in the 90s with a slew of albums that got really, really great reviews, and they garnered pretty widespread fandom for a metal band. I mean, during that time, you had like Metallica was enormous, and they remain enormous. But Tool has really, I think, grown in terms of popularity because I think for me, their lead singer's vocals are a lot more accessible than most metal bands' lead vocalists can be. Maynard James Keenan has maybe the best voice for any metal band I can ever remember listening to. And I think that allows more people to be into Tool's music, and their songs feel more, I think a bit more artistic than I think you would think of with classic metal bands. But 13 years since their last album, did Fear Inoculum grab you? How did you feel about it?
Yeah, so I mean, to be honest, I was never really familiar with Tool as a big rock act just because like I never really was exposed to them by my parents or anything. And obviously they went away for a while, so they just weren't really on the mind. But yeah, I think what you said about the vocals stood out to me. They had like a really like chanty vibe on Fear Inoculum, which I thought actually sounded pretty cool. And for the most part, the album is pretty heavy, but not like super heavy metal like you said, which I actually like. And for the most part, I liked what I heard, even if this album ultimately is bogged down by just really repetitive and indulgent moments, because as anyone who's listened to it knows, every song minus an interlude is over 10 minutes long. So thus there's these really long-winded outros or guitar solos or drum solos, whatever it might be. And I think structurally a lot of these songs just kind of lose themselves. But so like I probably was really into some of the songs at the start, and then I just would check out because there's 6 minutes left and I'm not learning anything new on the song, So I thought it sounded fine.
So Dave, cool. You're saying that these works of art should be more concise and less bloated and fatty.
Well, I just don't think they use their length sufficiently. There's another long album we'll talk about later that I enjoyed for its length, but yeah, I think a song like the title track on this, Numa, the second song, really good. I think we just kind of like removed again some of these outros. Just been thinking what was worked a little better. But well, I mean, what did you think? Are you even a big Tool head?
No, I'm not a big Tool head. They're pretty interesting. I think for a couple of reasons. When you think about these bands that play live, a lot of times you think about the lead singer out in front and the band kind of surrounding them. But the way Tool, especially on their most recent tour, have gone about it is they usually play basically in like a shadow. Like there will be like a light around them, but you usually don't see their faces or them like that clearly. And I find that interesting that they kind of take this more artistic approach and they try to put the music out in front rather than anyone from the band really taking lead. I found this to be an interesting album for the fact of it is different and it is something that I would not usually check into, but I really enjoyed it because even though the songs were long, a lot of times they felt like these like epic journeys in a sense. But I did find them to be a bit too long at points and a bit just when every single song is that long, it can be hard to stay mentally into it because as you know, I like shorter, more concise art. But I still think there's a lot to like on this. They're obviously amazing musicians. Again, Keenan is an amazing singer, and I was really impressed with that. With the vocals on this, especially on probably my three favorite tracks: Fear Inoculum, Numa, and I guess it's Tempest with a 7 at the front. So sevenist. I don't know.
Tempest. Yeah, let's go with that.
But still, I think there's lots to like on here, and a lot of other people did too, because this debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Top 200. Dave, what do you think was the last rock album to be number 1 on the Billboard Top 200? It's last year, 2018.
Last year. Shit. I don't know. I was gonna guess Foo Fighters. That was 2017.
You're in the right era for sure.
1975. Do they count?
Actually,
Greta Van Fleet.
No, it was Dave Matthews. Their new album, Come Tomorrow, came out last year.
Got it.
I didn't even know Dave Matthews dropped a new album last year.
Yeah, Tool beat out Lana for this number 1 that week. 270,000 first week, 248 of which were pure album sales.
Crazy.
Very much rock fan base right there. Also, I thought it was interesting. Fear Inoculum, the title track, was the band's first Billboard Hot 100 chart entry since 2001. Long ass time. And that's also the longest song in the chart's history, and the first ever over 10 minutes long. How about that?
They're breaking all these records. I had a friend who, huge Tool fan, he went out to buy the album. He likes to buy physical records.
Yes, you mentioned him before.
And he couldn't find it anywhere on the release date. And I was like, is this album really is it gonna do it? And it did. It did it, man. Yeah, it's, I don't know. They did have a bit of a gimmick with it where they had this huge package that came along with these hard album sales. So, and we talked a little bit about how these artists game the system a bit.
Bundling.
It is one of the first, or the first rock album, I think, in a long time. I think it might have been since last year, to chart that high without like a ticket sale attached to it.
So, exactly.
Pretty interesting stuff. Tool, well, we already put one of their songs on the playlist. Check that out. Nowstalgia Best of 2019.